Thank you, Dave. Before I open the hearing for the Barnstable Board of Health, I would like to ask Vanessa to do the quorum for the quorum purpose. Today is January the 27th.
Tom Lee.
Present.
Dr. Guadagnoli.
Present.
Dr. Caniff.
Present.
Dr. Beer. Dr. Lesko and Dr. Waller are currently absent. And health staff, Tom McKean.
Here.
And myself, Vanessa Tripp. Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is desiring to make such a recording or transmissions. Seeing none. The first item on the agenda is tobacco violations. Rahim Chowdhury, owner representing the Smoke Hub, 145 Barnstable Road, Hyannis, Mass, map parcel 327-244-001, on December the 2nd, 2025, favorite tobacco product and or favorite enhancer, including mint and menthol flavor, were sold at store or in front of the counter. Also, favorite blended wraps, banana cream, lemon haze, frontos leaves were displayed on the counter at store for self-service. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Yes, on December 9th, 2025, at approximately 9:38 a.m., I went into the Smoke Hub at 145 Barnstable Road for a routine inspection. And during that time, I did find the products that you mentioned on top of the counter for self-service, which is, a violation of the local regulations. And also, they had several flavored products, which are mostly were hemp wraps, but those are considered flavor enhancers under the definition in the state law. So actually, you have two violations here. You can choose to you can choose to enforce on one or the other. Well, actually, the stronger of the two, which would be the flavored products.
Do you want to mention? Do you want to mention your name first to identify yourself?
Hi, I'm Rahil Chaudhry, one of the owners of the Smoke Hub. Basically, I run the Smoke Hub with my cousin and my brother-in-law as a three-way partnership. What happened was in December, I got married in Sri Lanka, and three of us were gone. So none of us were actually here during the almost all of December. At that time, we were a little bit short-staffed, so we had an employee who works at our dentist location work and cover some shifts in Hyannis at that time. We have three locations. One's in Dennis, and the other two are in Barnstable. What we usually do with our deliveries is have everything come to Hyannis, and then we split it up there and take it ourselves to the other locations where it's needed. In Dennis, they follow state guidelines, and in Barnstable, you guys have stricter, tougher versions of state laws. So in Dennis, the products that were mentioned are King Palm, Lemon Haze, and King Palm Banana Cream. Those are allowed to be sold in Dennis, but not in Hyannis. So we had gotten those products shipped to our Hyannis locations, but they were for sale in Dennis. Unfortunately, the employee working at that time, who usually works at Dennis, didn't know the distinction and put them up for sale in Hyannis. And when we found out, we took them off the shelf immediately. I actually brought copies of the products if you want to see them from our Dennis store, where they're allowed to be sold under Massachusetts state law, as there are no nicotine, no tobacco. I know Barnstable is stricter, so they also don't let you sell them here, which we've abided by for the past 3-4 years since the law's been changed. It's only in Dennis that we sell these products, and it was just a mix up with our employee who put them up for sale at this location. I also have some photos I sent to with the packets that's showing that we have Fronto leaves for sale, which are tobacco products, non-flavored. Those are behind the counter, but they're like right on the edge. So we had them pushed back so that no one can go and take tobacco products from behind the counter by going around the edge. But there's nothing currently on the actual shelves that's not behind the counters. And there's also a mistake, I thought, in the description saying that these were flavored Broughton Labs Fronto leaves, but I can pass these out. They're non-tobacco, non-nicotine leaves. It's palm leaves. Should I just give them out?
No, I know what all of these are, and for the record, if these are being sold in Dennis, that is a violation of state law. These are it's a violation of the flavor enhancer, provision of that law. So they should not be sold anywhere. And the Fronto leaves were, and these along with the Fronto leaf, which is just plain tobacco, but leaf, were all on top of the counter for self-service. So if you're selling those in Dennis, it's a violation of state law. They're not following the law. Yeah.
From what I've seen, I thought it was allowed in Dennis because the state didn't interpret these as flavor enhancing, as it wasn't tobacco or nicotine in the product. And when I've talked to both our distributor, J. Polyp, as well as the town of Dennis, and followed up with them, they had no issues with us selling it there, which is why we have them for sale in our Dennis shop and have for the past like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you shouldn't, but Dennis doesn't participate in the program, so obviously I don't go over to take a look over there, but.
Yeah. As far as we were concerned, and what I followed up with the state and the town in Dennis, that was allowed to sell, which is the only reason we even got the shipment to Hyannis. It's just because all of our shipping comes to Hyannis and we split it up ourselves. And because we were all 3 of our owners were gone, we were short-staffed and there was a mistake made, which we've recommended the employee, made sure now he only works in Dennis because we're back to full staff, but we made sure he knows that can't happen.
It sounds like there is a confusion between your interpretations and Bob's interpretations. I think we are taking Bob's interpretation because he is the, enforcement officer to go and check all the incidents and reporting the violations. I don't have to trust him because, for you to say, yeah, Dennis is approving this and allowing to sell this, I'm not buying that. That may be Dennis, but not here. So
Yeah, I mean, we fully understand that having it in Hyannis was a mistake, and it was caused by multiple issues with short staffing and none of us owners being in the country at that time. So I'm just trying to show you why we actually got the shipment to Hyannis in the first place, because we're not trying to break any laws or regulations. We haven't made any kind of mistake like this before. I mean, it's not worth like a 50-cent profit to get a $1,000 fine with the town. We're not trying to do that. It was a mistake with distribution because we got this product for a different store.
Yep. Any question from the board? No? Staff?
First-time offense?
Yeah, first-time offense, and there's only the fine for the first time. There's no suspension involved.
Right.
Yeah,
So we don't have the ability to impact the fine.
yeah.
This is the second offense, right?
That was
The
more than
first.
3
I
years.
believe it's a first offense, Doc. Yeah.
This is the first offense on,
What happened on 22?
make sure your mic is on. No, this is the flavored tobaccos.
But he's asking about the portion of the packet that has a letter from 22, where it looked like you maybe were trying to clarify the law, or we've got a letter in here that was written to you.
January 27, 2022.
Right.
I think that was when, I mean, it's been 4 years, but I think that was back when.
Yeah, we're talking about the
law-
tolling period of 3 years, not 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's when everything was going into place in the first place, and we didn't actually know what was allowed or not.
Okay.
I know we had a couple of town meetings back then about this.
Yeah, if it was January of '22, then that would have been outside of the 36-month tolling period. Yeah.
Right. Could have a motion to leave it a fine of $1,000.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to be against because I think reading it, that's a second offense. There's a December 28, 22, and this is January something.
Dr. Kemp, the
That's a
tolling
tolling
period
period.
is only 3 years. That was more than 3 years ago.
Right.
So we only count the past 3 years.
Within 3 years.
We only go back 3 years. That's longer than 3 years ago, so this is a first offense within that 3-year period.
Within the last 3 years.
And we don't really have the discretion to take mistakes into account.
I think I just wanted to let you know.
22, so you got,
Although, Bob's really good at what he does, and I would say that this almost sounds like if you're doing 60 on Route 6 in Dennis, it's just as over the speed limit as it is in Barnstable. At least that's what I'm,
Right, Dennis is supposed to be enforcing state law, but that's
Yeah.
not in my purview, so.
So for December 22nd, the 3-year would be December 25. So right now it's 26.
26.
Minutes, what is the vote, 3-1?
3-1.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, so do we just bring a check to the town hall, or how does this work?
No, you'll wait for the check in the mail, then it gives you instructions.
We'll get an invoice in the mail?
Yeah.
Then you'll get instructions, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
The second one is a sewer connection extension request. This is a continuance from October the 21st. Mark Schubert T. owner, 9 Quinniset, Centerville, Consent Road, Centerville, map parcel 250-152, phase 1, SGWH-24-357, requesting an extension of 12 months to connect the building to the public sewer. The applicant, Mark, is not here. He is in Florida, and he will be back in after Memorial Day. So we should table this after Memorial Days when he comes back. So,
Scheduled for the June meeting?
yeah. Do we need to get a vote?
So moved.
Anyone second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The next one is the septic system variance, continuous from November 25th, 2025. Ryan Pinner, EIT Outback Engineering, Inc., representing owner Ronald Olivier, 282 Parker Road, West Barnstable, map parcel 176-013, 19,602 square feet. Microfast system proposed, multiple variances requested from sections 397-8E to install a soil absorption system 55 feet away from an on-site well in lieu of the 150 feet minimum setback required from section 397-8E of the Town of Barnstable Codes to install a soil absorption system 118 feet away from the neighbor's private wells at 264 Parker Road, West Barnstable, in lieu of the required from 150 feet setback from section 397-8E to install a septic tank 51 feet away from the on-site well in lieu of the required 100 feet minimum setback, and from 310 CMR 15.4051G State Environmental Code to install a soil absorption system 100 feet away from an on-site well in lieu of the 150 feet required setback. Ryan?
Hello, Ryan from Outback Engineering, Ryan Pino. So we have made some updates to.
Is your mic on? Is it green?
Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Ryan Pino from Outback Engineering. We have made some updates to the plan since the last meeting, addressing some of the comments that were made from the board and the public. First of all, we have added a PLS stamp to the plan as requested before, as there was some controversy over the lot line. Excuse me. As you can see, the septic tank has also been relocated, and we have proposed a microfast system for nitrogen loading, and we have also added a few updates to the variances requested, including one of these sounds a little bit redundant for the setback from the proposed leaching system to the on-site existing well, but it was just to recognize the 150-foot minimum required setback that the town of Barnstable requires, and we also called out the variance for Title V as well. We're also requesting a variance from the septic tank to the existing well, and that was why we had relocated the septic tank to provide the 51 feet that we've requested. We've also, another comment from the previous meeting was about the groundwater flow direction, which we've determined and shown up in the upper left corner of the lot there with that arrow displaying that groundwater runs off the rear of the property, the north side of the property. I believe that is all. We've also, one other thing that's not listed in the variances that we updated was the setback distances from the abutting properties. So we have requested a variance from 150 to 118 feet from the private water well at 264 Parker Road. I think that's everything.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Any public comment on this one?
Good afternoon. My name is David Cameron. I live at 264 Parker Road. I am the immediate abutter just to the east of the applicant's property. I appeared at the last hearing and voiced my objections to some of the requests for the variances. They're requesting a variance of 95 feet from the leaching field to his existing well. It's also requesting a variance from the proposed leaching field to my well of 32 feet. And also a request for a variance for the proposed septic tank to his existing well of 49 feet differential. So, as I mentioned before, the area is laden in that neighborhood with, as it is in quite so many properties in West Barnstable, with dense layers of clay. And many of the wells in that neighborhood are what's known as shallow wells. My well, which I had installed just over 10 years ago, is only 19 feet to water. And many of the other wells are pretty much the same. So we're dealing with surface water that's been percolated down through from rain and also a high water table that's there. Should there be any failure of this system, the septic tank, the new microfest system that's being proposed, or the leaching field that's being proposed, that could possibly contaminate his well, which could also contaminate thereafter my well from just the movement of surface water. I know that you've indicated that the contours of the groundwater moves to the north, but that doesn't mean that it could possibly go to the east or to the west. It's pretty broad. The property lines, which we mentioned before, are still in dispute. And the dispute on the proposed plan, and it sounds like the problem is over at the Registry of Deeds, because I have the existing deeds for the applicant's property and the existing deed for my property, which make them perfect parallelograms, not as depicted on the plan. So I just want to register once again, my objections There are no markers delineating the boundaries between their property and my property. And I think that that needs to be done if they're going to put in this kind of a system, this kind of a layout. They need to know where the boundaries are, and they need to delineate that. That has not been done. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff?
Clearly, there's a dispute of this property line in the plan, so I suggest that the board should consider that very carefully and possibly continue this meeting to give the neighbor a chance to prove the property line that he believes should be depicted on the plan. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. First of all, thank you for putting the groundwater flow arrow onto the drawing, because that is important. And secondly, the concern of the property line is very critical in your design, because it can decide whether the leaching field is in your property or on his property. So I would suggest you take the stick and measure the boundary on the field. Make sure you get a copy of his deed versus your deed to verify the boundary line. And then table this into February and come back. Because I don't want to make a decision if the information is a question mark.
So our professional land surveyor has been well aware, and I made it a point to him again that the property line was in dispute. He double and triple checked that property line before he put his stamp on that. I just don't.
Yeah, but right now, all I'm saying is that have your surveyor put the stake out under the ground and verify with the neighbor so that you both party can satisfy with the property line. Right now is, we just hear your call. You say, okay, the surveyor went out and he did not went out and take a look. He just looked at the paper. Whether he look at the correct paper, because if the deed is recording a different configurations versus what you have on the drawings, that's two different stories. Right? So I just need to verify something to be sure. And I don't want to go and make a determination this afternoon and say, yeah, fine, we can give you the permit. Because as an engineer, if there's a question mark, I'm not comfortable approving this plan.
So do we need a confirmation from the Registry of Deeds? Is that what the blocker is?
No, the question is, if there's a question mark in terms of the property line, it would be the applicants trying to verify the line, not you or not deed to verify that. They have to go and get the information and verify the property
Do they have to have it resurveyed, or how do they verify it?
My point. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
The surveyor can put a stake on the boundary, the corner stake.
And then make sure everybody's in agreement.
Yeah.
So the land surveyor that you had out
Yes.
would be asked to put the boundary stakes in?
Yeah.
And verify it with your neighbor at the 264 Parker Road address, David Cameron. That's the next step.
Yeah, come on.
What's of interest regarding the boundary is that they did lay out the frontage of the property very carefully, but all they put out was a benchmark. And the benchmark is simply a reference point. It is not the end of the boundary. So if you look on the map, on the scale, there is an indication of the benchmark, and then they're saying that the property goes beyond the benchmark X number of feet. No delineation of any stakes there, no delineation of any stakes to the rear of the property anywhere. So that's only, I bring that to your attention, that it's interesting to me that they put the benchmark in and put it in quite specific with typical orange surveyor ribbon. But they didn't go further, if that's what their intent is, to say that the property goes beyond the benchmark.
No,
And that's what the map says.
I understand perfectly what you're saying in terms of the benchmark, but what I'm saying is that these two stick at the boundary of the property line need to be staked.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Thank you.
A cement bound would be even better.
Huh?
But a stake, I understand you said stake, but even better would be a cement bounds. That would be permanent.
Yeah, they have to find it to put a stake on the ground to verify it. That's my request, to make sure that you stake it out, take his survey, take his plot plan and yours, and put a stake in, get your surveyor, go and put a stake in there and verify it.
Yeah, I just wanted to really quickly, the benchmark has nothing to do with the property line there. That's just for the builder to have an elevation
Right.
to go off of.
Right.
That's all that's calling out. Yeah, I mean, we've already had our survey crew go out and tie down that lot line. For our client, now they're gonna have to, it's gonna be on them to pay for a survey crew to go out there again and stake it out.
Well, last time we asked you to verify the line, to put something in there to verify it. But, if you have not put a stake in there and verify and confirm it with your neighbor, so be it. I mean, you need to do your due diligence in terms of the survey to make sure that it's happy,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd. I was going to say, one thing that I'm worried about is we could end up in the same place a month from now if they don't agree and they come back again next month. And it puts us in the middle between the two neighbors. I think the neighbor should provide official documentation to both the board and to the,
No, when his surveyor stake out the ground, he can be there, or he can hire a third party to confirm the boundary to stake. That would confirm that, whether this is correct or not. So there will be no dispute, or should not be any dispute, depending.
I think that's a good point, but should it be required that he hires a third party? Like he said, I don't want to. I mean, our stakes are going to be in those two spots right there. I just don't see how that's going to change the conversation.
But if I understand his plot of the land or the plan itself is different shape than yours. That's the question mark.
Okay.
Okay.
So how do we
So we would
adjudicate
need
that
to see
without dual
his plot
surveys?
plan.
Well, with a dual survey, basically is that his surveyor has to put a stake in there, and the neighbor can hire a third party to confirm that's the stake there.
Okay.
And then it's done. Then everybody
But
happy,
there
but
needs
this
to
is
be
the line.
some agreement before coming
Correct.
back here, because we can't.
All right, we cannot adjudicate in terms of, well, what is that or not, whether that's correct or not.
What would be a back, not a backup plan, but contingency plan if the neighbor doesn't pay for a survey,
Or if there's disagreement.
or if there's disagreement? If we have a survey confirmed for this property,
Get a copy of the deed that has the plot
So
plan
deed registry.
for both sides, so that we have it on the record to compare to what you guys survey.
so Registry of Deeds can provide that?
I'm sorry, were you?
I was going to say something else. I was going to say that the neighbor has documentation that describes a right angle to the street. You have a copy there. Now you can show us, right? This is not a right angle. This is that's the dispute. It's not a right angle, but
Right.
I think,
He has both, I think, the plot plan for your property and his property. You can get a copy from him if you want. And I'm sure he is willing to give it to you and verify the.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, because our land surveyor looked at the the plot plans and the deeds that were available from the registry. So if there's something else that doesn't line up with that,
That's why I said, go back and do that stuff. And next time when you come back, bring a copy of your deed, and he can give us a copy of his deed so that we can compare the corner versus what you stake out, and then we can sort it out,
okay.
okay?
What, can I just ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
What triggered this? What, is there a sale? Did the land get sold? Because
He had a
in any case, you're replacing a cesspool.
yeah.
So that's the other thing. We're replacing a cesspool that is already in violation of these setbacks that we're proposing. This is just a repair. This isn't new construction.
But we're still using the cesspool.
Yeah, the cesspool is still in place.
Still fail.
It's a failed.
It's a failed.
What did it,
cesspool.
okay. Did it fail because there's a sale?
I
It failed by definition anyways.
Well, right, but usually there's something that triggers it having to be done.
Yeah, I believe it was a sale. The house
You
is
said
vacant
you were
now,
going to
correct?
do some construction.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe it was a sale. The house is vacant now. It was.
Oh, it is? Okay.
it was
all right.
vacant at least. Yeah, when I went there, I was there for the perk test, and it was vacant at the
Okay.
time.
I was just curious, because it's clearly going to be better than with a cesspool,
Yep.
but we also clearly need to, and I would think if it's a new owner, they want to know what the property lines are too, so.
Right, right. Could I have a motion to table this to February?
So moved.
And
Second.
the next steps are clear?
I think so, as far as I know. I saw it earlier. I know
Okay.
I think I'm clear.
So just to be clear, so you want us to have the survey crew stake out these two corners
Yes,
and points along the line as well, or just the corners?
the two corner that you share with the with the neighbor.
Okay.
And then he would be there to observe it, and you can hire a third party to confirm that corner, the property line of those both corners on your property.
Okay.
And then when you come back, bring a copy of your deed, and then you can give us a copy of the deed to Worth to confirm that. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Good.
One last question. Do you want a best available technology? Are you happy with micro-fast? I would suggest best available technology. That has been the standard that we've recommended in the past. We're dealing with shallow wells, drinking water.
What would the best available be?
Nitro or nitrix gets the nitrogen down to a much lower level than microfast, which is, what's microfast, 19?
Microfast is 19.
So it wouldn't be a tight tank?
Nitro, huh?
It wouldn't be that they had to have a tight tank?
No.
Okay.
No. Microfast is 19, and then the nitro is less than 11. Same thing as the nitrix, I think is about 11 or so, or less than 10, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood, so. Yeah, you should do the nitro with the best available technologies so that you have a better, less nitrogen going into the groundwater. It doesn't not really change your design that much. It just, from one IA system to another one.
Yep.
Space-wise, your leaching field is all the same size, so you're not really changing, making any major changes in terms of your design stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So I make the motion.
Okay, motion to
second.
approve.
All in favor?
Oh, sorry, motion to table for
February.
February, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And did you need the,
No, we don't need that, do we? No.
Thank you.
The next item is the grease trap request. Willie Penisek, representing owner Jessica Rosenberg. Outdoor Tiki Bar, 473 Main Street, Hyannis, map parcel 308-084. Variance requested from Chapter 322 Food Establishment, Article 1, Minimum Sanitation Standard 322-3 Grease Trap of the Town of Barnstable Code, in order to expand the menu at the Hyannis Inn Sport and Tiki Bar. Go ahead, please identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Luis Martinez. I'm the new manager over at the Tiki Sports Bar, 473 Main Street. I'll be point of contact moving forward on this matter and all other matters. We're asking for a variance request due to the fact that we have an existing food permit there. That existing food permit was done with like a cold menu due to technical issues. So nothing is prepared in the Tiki Sports Bar area because it doesn't have a kitchen. We have a variance to work in the kitchen in the opposite area, which is commercial kitchen with a 1,000-gallon grease trap. Everything is prepared there, disposed of there, et cetera. We did get approved as well last year to bring over the food in to-go containers, to-go silverware. So nothing is ever contributing to anything. It's all disposed of in trash bags, in trash barrels that are then put in the dumpster in the back. Therefore, no contribution to that. The variance that we're asking for today is to just expand the menu from, what we were already approved to go to fish and chips, burgers. We did submit several months ago a copy of the menu. I do have other copies if we need. It is a fairly small menu compared to others, and just atypical burgers, fish and chips, fries, things like that. Sandwiches, some cold, some hot. Again, the biggest thing that we want to stress is the fact that we've already had a menu in place that, with the to-go containers, the approved transportation as well with the Board of Health, closed thermal containers to make sure there's no food contamination as well as no grease trap contamination. That is, that's our position there where, I said, we've had our puff tests, we've had everything done and updated, which is what we were waiting on. And in attendance was building permit, plumbing, fire department, fire equipment installation. The puff test was approved and done, and all those things were written off and verified.
Thank you. Any public comment on this one? Staff?
Mr. Planishek was here last August or September, and the board allowed a very limited menu, not just to cook any menu items. It was sandwiches and cut fruit and chowder only, because the restaurant is over 130 feet away. The grease trap is not at the building he's talking about. There's no grease trap at that location. It needs to have a grease trap. DPW is requiring connection into a grease trap. This variance should be denied. It should have its own grease trap if they want to expand the menu at this location. This is not the proper way. You have to have, because of not only food prep, but washing dishes, washing utensils, dishware, et cetera, has to be, that contributes to grease. It's not just the cooking. It should be disapproved. Thank you.
Sorry. I apologize.
But, okay, so I'm confused. This is a standalone little bar that essentially has a food truck outside that's supplying it with food. Well, I'm calling the restaurant, the commercial kitchen that's across the parking lot is where everything is done. Is everything that's done there in compliance with what we want? Does it have a grease trap? Is that inspected by the Board of Health? Is it in compliance with everything to be a commercial kitchen?
Yeah, if at that location, if the food was being prepared and served at that location, yes, at the other.
And then it's being rolled across the parking lot and served to patrons. And then, as a matter of fact, I think I read somewhere with plastic forks and utensils and stuff that I wouldn't particularly want, but disposable stuff. Right. So it's going into a trash bag. Nobody's washing anything in that location either. Yeah. So why are we asking them to have a grease trap if
This was initiated by DPW, not the Health Division staff. This is what DPW wants, connection to a pipe. It was a specific request.
But
And this
then the
board
question to DPW is, why do you want somebody to have a grease trap who isn't generating grease?
This board went to learn about the grease problems in Hyannis. He also came to the meeting and told the board about the grease problems we're having. And this is what the DPW wants, to protect the treatment plant from their grease problems. So
How are they not protected if the preparation that's being done is in a place with a grease trap?
DPW's not here to answer the questions that you're asking.
Well, then they lose.
Let me answer, let me ask these questions, and
So-
then that
sorry.
would help, that would help you. That special kitchen right now is doing the breakfast restaurant there, right? And your 1,000-gallon is designed for that purpose, restaurant for the breakfast stuff.
We're not currently serving breakfast, but it's where all the food is prepped and made is in that area, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that
Yes.
food is prepared in that facility.
Correct.
With the grease trap.
Correct.
Now you're cooking the food, serving the tiki bar from that kitchen facility.
Correct. Everything comes over.
What I'm saying, though, is with both the breakfast seating area versus plus 48 seats in this tiki bar area, you possibly will be exceeding that 1,000 capacity.
If I may, so that side is currently not operating for service. So, and when it does, we have already had a 3,000-gallon tank designed, stamped. We're going to be submitting that for approval later. When that side opens up, that is months away from that. So that particular side where the kitchen is located is not operating for service. All it does is
no
the food prep,
tables,
the
you
food
don't see
made,
anything there.
then plastic containers, plastic silverware. Nothing is ever put in sinks. Nothing. Everything goes from there to a trash bag. Much like a food truck, everything goes there, goes in a trash barrel, and then the barrel goes into the dumpster. There's nothing
But where do
contributing
you
to the
prepare
sinks.
the food?
In that kitchen across the way. So we currently have that variance for the cold menu, where we have the chowder and such, and that was due to complications of the equipment, the gas lines, et cetera, and hoods and stuff. Those have all been fixed, tested, approved, and that is why we're asking for the adjustment of menu, where nothing's going to change. Everything's still prepped and washed over there. And then on the tiki side, just as we've done for the last 6 months, nothing is put into sinks, nothing is put in, everything is in plastic disposable, the silverware, the napkins, the containers themselves. There's no grease contribution to that. So that's why we're asking for the extended menu, beyond what that is, because there is no grease contribution on our end. Everything comes in a to-go container, everything goes in a trash bag.
Yeah, but is there any, so there's no seating in that breakfast to be?
Not currently. In the
operating,
future-
Just the kitchen itself?
Correct, sir. In the future, we will. And again, we already have a stamped and approved and designed 3,000 grease trap that we'll be submitting further to once, barring that approval, then we'll open that side up for service. So currently, we're under 50 people that we serve.
Do you know which month that'll occur in the spring?
No. So I know that we're submitting it's going to be based on the paperwork, the approvals or non-approvals and such. So we don't have a set date for that, but it's not in the next month or two or anything like that, no.
We walk by this almost every Saturday.
No, I understand. The
And it's
reason
empty.
I asked the question,
Yeah.
I just want to clarify. In my mind, what is that grease trap, the 1,000 grease trap is serving for what?
That is for the food prep, so.
I understand,
Yeah.
but that's my question is like, is it one place or the other? Or, so right now you clarify that grease trap, 1,000-gallon grease trap is just for serving the kitchens, preparing the food
Correct, sir.
for the tiki bar right now at this point.
Correct, sir.
So then the breakfast facility is not operational,
Correct.
okay?
Could that be a condition of the approval?
It will be a condition on the
so-
approval because the kitchen the breakfast place cannot be operational because if you're
Until an increased grease trap is installed.
Correct.
So one path forward is to approve the extended menu on the condition that.
Using that 1,000
Using
gallon
the
tank
existing
as a grease
kitchen
trap.
with the 1,000-gallon grease trap.
Right.
And that the existing restaurant facility is not functioning.
Right.
until the 3,000-gallon grease trap is installed.
We were told by Mr. Planchek that they would be opening in the spring and putting in a larger grease trap. Now, here we are in January, and they don't know what month this is going to happen. Spring is just around the corner. They don't know when it's going to happen?
I understand that, but then the thing
Yeah.
though is we can only approve this application based on the 1,000-gallon tank that is available for that kitchen. But that kitchen is not going to be operational for the breakfast facility. So that's only that. Whether they come back, they say there's spring, they may come back in May. We cannot control the timing of their applications, but the breakfast facility cannot be operational until that bigger grease trap coming in.
Could the variance have a time limit that's reasonable, that integrates into the plans for the 3,000-gallon grease trap to be like
Or-
June or something?
Or that any variation in what's being cooked, any expansion of what's being cooked or the number of people being served would trigger them having to come back. I mean, we don't know how long it's actually going to take,
Right.
but we should be able to say, you know, right now it looks like you've got an adequate grease trap for what's being done. I'm sure it's difficult if you're transporting it across the parking lot and all that, but if you're going to expand, which is, it
Right
sounds
now,
like what the
based
plan
on
is.
your seating arrangement on the chart that you are providing in your application, there are 48 seats.
Yes, sir.
So with the 15 gallons per seat capacity, so that means that you need a 720 minimum of the grease trap. So 1,000 is fine
fine.
at this point.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're increasing the seat that with exceeding 1,000, that is a no-no.
Yeah,
Or
which means-
if you want to increase, or if you want to do the breakfast facility, you need to increase the grease traps to satisfy that as well.
Which is,
Yep, and we're aware of that, so.
Now, who's gonna check on to see what they're using and what they're not using?
to be honest,
that?
as I said, Paul, we walk by it almost, I mean, not with the last couple of Saturday nights, but almost every Saturday night after church, we walk up and down Main Street, and we saw the Tiki Bar open. They've got a busy business. We see them doing that. And then the empty, what looks like an empty building, which is the building that they're doing the preparation in, has no tables, has nothing outside in front of it.
Did you meet with the DPW?
No, so the DPW put a letter in the last time when I was not involved in the process at that point. But again, that was, you know, with the limited cold menu due to the grease trap. And again, I don't think there was a clear understanding of that is the prep-only area and that everything is disposable. There was nothing put in the sink, so there's zero contribution on the Tiki Bar side. And again, with future plans, that's different. We don't have a date set for when we're going to try to do that, but this is only for the extended menu that we submitted to DPW several months ago for this set menu here. No variation of this menu, no specials, nothing else other than just what's on here that we submitted.
So who met with the
Did you
DPW?
see
Was it
the
Bill?
note
Was it?
that-
I'm sorry. Was it Mr. Planchek that met with DPW then? If it wasn't you? who
Yes, it
met?
was.
So why is there a change in?
Because I'm the manager on file now, so I'm going to be the point of contact moving forward with everything. So he was the
Change in
operations
staff, I
manager
guess.
contractor for it.
Because maybe he could explain more detail why the DPW wants this connection now.
Well, it's, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know. Like I said, that's fact that, the DPW is that 901-15 requires an establishment to have a grease trap. The lounge, having been in there almost 40 years, has never needed that. We have a current variance for food, so we're already abiding by the rules and regulations. We're just asking for the expansion, which doesn't change the fact that, like I said, everything's disposable and zero contribution still.
So in order to help the business step through, this staging of different areas for service and to uphold the standards that we want to uphold for DPW in controlling grease in the sewer systems, what's the trigger? Like if we approved the variance on particular conditions, what's the trigger to make sure that we do make sure that a 3,000-gallon grease trap is is in place before the larger dining room that's near this kitchen is open for service.
Don't you have to inspect it before they can do that?
Is there a trigger that we can use?
No, they have to apply for the new permit for the 3,000-gallon grease trap, and they would have to provide the calculations that
Oh,
meet the
I
size.
think
What
the
I'm saying
question
is-
is, what if they don't do that?
Right.
If they don't do
If we-
that, that means they cannot operate the breakfast facility.
Okay.
Period.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to know. So
Yeah.
if we have that process in place, why would we not give a conditional variance to the business?
Well, for my being, the letter from Tuesday, December 16, 2025, to Tom McKean from the DPW, says, "We have provided our recommendation for this matter, which was that a grease trap should be required. As far as if this can be handled, or that's it, on the reunited." And they go on to say what I think, the DPW should be doing these things, not us. Because they handle the grease traps and the pipes. We don't.
Unfortunately, it appears that their logic defies logic, though.
It appears
I
like
mean,
it's,
they're creating,
they gotta do the dirty work. But that's my opinion.
But what I'm thinking, though, is correct, because when you're trying to install a grease trap, you have to install it at the point where you have the grease coming out to treat it. So your existing kitchen that you have 1,000-gallon, that would satisfy DPW's request for installing a grease trap to secure the grease before you discharge the sewer. Okay? I'm fine with that, but, Tom's question is, usually the business is where the grease trap is, because you are slightly different from that scenario, okay? But I understand that, but we are still dealing with the source of the grease is from your kitchens. So we are not really giving you a variance per se, not doing a grease trap. You're still doing a grease trap, but at different locations from the kitchens.
I like that even better.
Right. Could I have a motions to approve this subject to, the breakfast facility should not be operational. The kitchen only serving this for cooking the food for this tiki bar. If the owner want to open up the breakfast facility, they need to increase the grease traps and satisfy the new capacity required for that.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question. When does that take into effect? Is that immediate? Do I have to go back and do different paperwork for it now? Will it be
Once you receive the letter from the chairman,
understood?
it goes into effect. You'll get it in the mail.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. The next item is Town of Barnstable Code to propose revision of Chapter 318 fee schedules. This is a proposal to revise Chapter 318 fee schedules as follows: a housing inspection, the rental registration, see Section 170-8. Tom, do you want to explain that?
Yes, Chapter 170 was updated by the town council in December. That's specifically, the rental registration fee was increased to $250. Previously, it was $90 per unit. And it should not appear in our own Board of Health schedule fee because this is a town council regulation. So the town attorney suggested this language, to remove what we have now, showing the fee from our own Board of Health fee schedule, and just have it say, see Section 170-8. So it's just in one spot in the town code.
Right. Any questions?
So moved.
So the new fee's gonna be $250 per unit, and then
Yes,
95 for the If
No.
there's two,
There's no other fee. It used to be 90 for the first, and if there's more than, say it's an apartment building, it'd be 25 for each additional. Now it's just $250 per unit, flat fee.
okay.
So I have a motion. Anyone second?
We're not doing anything, are we?
All in favor?
Aye. We're revising wording
But just, yeah,
to be consistent with what the attorney recommended.
right.
Unanimous? Is it unanimous or 3-1, Dr. Ganev?
Think it's-
Paul,
are you okay with that?
Vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The next one is a citizen request, Paula Crowley, Captain Others Link, Osterville, allegations of the rat infestations in neighborhoods, suggesting remedy other towns use to combat rats issues. Good afternoon.
Hi, thank you for having me. What has brought me here today is a terrible experience with a rat infestation in my neighborhood. I first complained about this a few years back when I noticed my neighbor had a chicken coop after the fact. Originally, I was seeing rat holes in my backyard, and then I discovered that there was a chicken coop and some bird feeders in the neighborhood, which had never been there before. I purchased my home back in 1997. Never had I experienced any kind of a rat issue, rodent issue, nothing until a few years ago. I spent quite a bit of money on hiring pest control services at the original complaint when I discovered there was rats in the neighborhood in my backyard. And this helped mitigate the problem, but it didn't solve the problem. I went out and bought some dry ice, tried to flood the holes with dry ice to suffocate the rats. I've hired construction workers to come and bury mesh wire around my deck so they can't dig. I've done so many things. And then, to my surprise, my neighbors were having the same experience. And one of the neighbors who live directly next door to the gentleman that owned the chicken coops and the bird feeders had hired a landscape company and spent thousands of dollars where their property line is divided by a stockade fence. The chicken coop is directly up against that fence. And the rats were burrowing under the fence onto his property. And I have some pictures here. I don't know if you want them. This is the neighbor who spent all that money with the landscapers to dig up under the fence and place the wire fencing under there. And that's the fence, and this is the chicken coop right up against the fence. When I originally called the Board of Health to complain about the chickens, there was an investigation, and the investigation came back that the chicken coop owners were not in any violation. Their yard was clean, they were abiding by the policies set forth by the town to make sure that the feed was sealed and whatnot. So, unfortunately, even abiding by these policies didn't seem to help. The rat infestation grew and grew and grew to now I'm here again. It's just out of control. Now the rats are burrowing up against my foundation, and it's very concerning to me. I have pets, and I don't want to resort to poison, which a lot of Cape residents are doing. I know there have been substantial amounts of complaints about the rat infestation in Barnstable County. I know that they do pose a public health threat, not just for us, but for children and pets. The leptospirosis animals have been getting sick with, and the veterinarians are saying that it's from just breathing in, inhaling the feces and the urine that the rats are leaving behind in the yards. So not only do they pose a public health threat, but they, obviously everybody knows how they affect the environment and the infrastructure. And again, the poison is causing a big problem with the wildlife. And I'm hoping that Barnstable will be more proactive, like other towns have been. Provincetown, Yarmouth, Mashpee, they all have preventative measures in addition to what Barnstable does now. They are proposing, well, they do propose permits at the cost of the coop owners and pest control paid by the coop owners. I had to pay for my pest control, but at no fault of my own did I have rats. If somebody's going to have a coop, shouldn't they be the one to bear the expense of the pest control instead of the neighbors having to do it? There's setbacks, minimum lot size requirements. I live in a very densely populated neighborhood. It's a cul-de-sac, and all our properties are under a half an acre, probably like a third of an acre. And the surrounding towns do have these regulations where if you're in a dense neighborhood, you shouldn't have a chicken coop at all because of the invitation for rats. No matter how clean you can be, it doesn't seem to eliminate the invitation. So I'm hoping, and I apologize because I did request several times for the second investigation results, but I haven't heard back. So I don't know what happened in the last investigation. I'm assuming that they must have passed the investigation without any issues, but I do, the only other thing I wanted to say was I do have a petition that I have started. And there's a lot of people like myself on board with more regulations and mandates. I feel like the town of Barnstable could, benefit monetarily from it too, charging permits and putting more rigid restraints on whatever's considered rat invitations. I know that the town really does suffer from the infestation, not just my neighborhood.
Ms. Crowley, I appreciate your concern about rat infestation, and maybe I don't understand how to interpret the photos that you've provided, but I'm not really seeing evidence of rat infestation. I'm not contradicting your claim, but is there any evidence, possibly from the exterminators, about the number of rats, the population of rats in a particular area? Is there any information like that you have?
I can provide you with pictures of the rat holes in my neighborhood. I can provide you with pictures of all the rats that I've been taking pictures of in my backyard specifically. I do not have statistics from pest control companies, but I could get that for you. I know that even if you just go into Hyannis to any commercial establishment, it's hard not to see all those rat boxes surrounding the buildings. I could provide whatever it is that you're requesting. The pictures that I provided you with were to just show that my neighbors are experiencing the same problem, and they had to spend money to mitigate the rat problem because the coop is right up against the property line where the fence is, and they were burrowing underneath. So that's what those pictures are.
Can I go to Tom first? Because Tom has sent out a couple inspectors, do a couple inspections.
Yeah, 2 years ago, if you recall, Ms. Crowley was here a few months ago talking about an investigation from 2 years ago. That was a different health inspector, and I looked up her findings, and she found no violation at the chicken coop property. Now move forward to this year, we sent a different inspector to the same property. He found his reports are in your packages. He found no violation. He saw no evidence of rat holes. He saw no rats. He also looked at the property that had a bird feeder, another property in the same street, and he could not find any evidence of rats. Now, a week later, he had to go to another rat complaint in Hyannis, and definitely he found a problem there. It's not that we're blind. We do see, when there's a problem, we see it and we address it. And rats are natural in the environment, just like there are many other, the squirrels, chipmunks, as you know, there's all kinds of animals that are natural in the environment. We're not disputing that they're not in the environment. It's just that he's been there several times. He did not see any evidence in this particular neighborhood. He couldn't find it. He looked.
Right.
And his pictures are in your package. His report is in your package. We also, after talking with Ms. Crowley on the phone a few months ago, I looked at the town of Provincetown to see if they have any regulations. They have more like educational materials. I couldn't find a regulation, but they have a lot of education materials about don't allow the feed to go on the ground from bird feeders, things like that. Garbage has to be properly stored. We certainly could do more education like Provincetown. I have no objections to that. I'm not aware, if you could provide, if there is a town, if you do know of any towns that have regulations, we'd be interested in seeing those.
Yeah, Yarmouth is a big one, too. They have setback limitations and lot size limitations, and I do believe Provincetown does have a regulation. If you're a business that has a food dumpster, you have to pay for the pest control. Shouldn't be up to the neighbors to pay for it. And I don't know what to do, because I just feel like this is an issue, and I would like to really try and get something more for the town. It's a sad
There's also
situation.
the question of what is really a town council, should be brought to town council versus Board of Health. For example, the rooster regulation was adopted by town council. We didn't adopt any animal control regulations. Board of Health doesn't have.
It's because the rats are
We-
a public
right.
health threat.
Right.
That's why.
So, I mean, as far as setbacks of chicken coops, I'm just bringing this up because if you're interested in any setback regulations or something like that, that may fall under a different town council or some other, or animal control, but not this.
Not Board of Health.
Not Board of Health.
This is not a simple matter. It's a complicated.
I agree.
The only thing, though, I would suggest, though, if you have, say, if you have taken any pictures about your rats in your yard or something, you can share with us. And then if you know any regulation, you can share that with us. We have to go and take a look and study ourselves in terms of what is available
Okay.
that we can do, because we cannot decide it here this afternoon which direction we're going.
I can provide you with all that.
Yeah.
That's not a
because
problem.
We need to kind of take a step back and study what's the comparison with different town and what we can do and so forth. And then if we are doing a regulation like this, we have to have an open meeting, discussions, because this is a big deal.
You might want to ask the town attorney, too.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where it should fall.
Right, right. Jurisdiction-wise, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll provide all that information to you, and to be continued.
Yep,
Thank you so much for your time.
yep.
Sorry for your problem.
I know, it's much more under control now, but it was a great effort.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one set of minutes, December the 16th. Any question on that?
It's well-written.
Move to approve. Did you write it down?
Anyone second?
And Christine did.
I have a couple of comments on that. Was somebody talking?
No, no.
No.
Go ahead.
On that house that wants the ADU in Osterville. And you approved it with saying that, you know, they could stop fertilizing or don't, I don't know if they fertilize or not, but anyways, at the meeting, the plans that they presented to us were not plans that are acceptable to the Board of Health. They had no dimensions on them. They had a couple other things that wasn't there. I mean, we have no idea how big that ADU was going to be. Now, I know that you have to get more plans to go to the health department. And I'm sure they will be on them then. But that doesn't give the Board of Health a chance to look at that. So I think that's wrong procedure. I think we should, if we're gonna approve plans at a meeting, they should have everything on them that's required. Not, I mean, there wasn't even a display of the septic system. And as I pointed out to you before the meeting, they said they were gonna use a nitro something or equivalent. And during the meeting, you told them that they had to use the nitro, not the equivalent.
Right.
But I mean, I've never seen plans approved. I mean, requests approved without adequate plans. That's the first time.
The reason I kind of mentioned that, because at that time is we are in the process of saying, okay, we are allowing you to use the nitro for the design. They still have to come up with the design and the floor plan.
That's what I thought was coming back
Applications.
this month, and then you told me that they probably put the plans into the Board of Health without not the Board of Health, the Health Department, without the Board of Health seeing them. No, it's just an issue I think is wrong.
Do you think that we need to see that plan?
I'm in communication with the inspector that's dealing with this case. I can have him make sure it comes to the board before final approval, if you wish.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And the other aspect of the fertilizing is kind of ridiculous in my mind. If they have a dog, it changes all the figures. So, I mean, that was never asked. Or you're gonna put in there, you can't have an animal? I mean, I think that was crazy. But anyhow, that's it.
Well, we make the motion for the minute. Anyone second? All in favor? Aye. Could I have our next meeting is February the 24th at 3 p.m. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
For that meeting, do you want
Second.
tobacco first or tobacco at the
Okay,
end?
that's a second.
What?
The tobacco is coming, right, the regulation, is that for that, do you want it first or do you want it at the end of the agenda?
At the end of the agenda.
At the end, okay, we'll tell Bob
So that we
Collette.
finish all the, let's say, the continuance from this afternoon.
Yeah, like all those regulations he wants, nicotine, things like that, the whole list.
Right. Could I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Oh, you
Aye.
already did that.
Huh?